we both are understanding
Hmm.
that neither her happiness or my own is the most central important thing in this
Hmm.
thing we call a marriage.
And so part of the leveling up process is knowing what your worth is. Where did you go through that evolutionary process, Jeff, when you begin to know what your worth is, start getting the outcomes that you want? Because that is phenomenal that you got the wife that you got. But also your critics will say, Jeff, what do you do when she get to the point where she says, I'm not happy, and then she wants a divorce?
30. 30 was when the switch went off for me. And it wasn't that I had issues or with approaching women or getting access to women when I was
Hmm.
younger. From my early 20s, I was getting numbers. I was out there. I was outside, right?
Hmm.
Um, what I learned coming back out there and being single again was I actually recognized the rampant entitlement. I recognized very early some of the things that everybody was complaining about. I'm seeing it now and I'm like, whoa. But the difference was at 30, I now saw where I was and where I was going. And I was viewing the women around me and realizing very quickly, I don't think that all of them realize that my level of optionality is not quite what they think it is in terms of the average man. I'm not a model. I'm not an athlete anymore. I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not a high profile lawyer or somebody that's really well known in demand. But at 30 years old, knowing that in the next 5 years, I'm probably going to increase my annual salary by 50 to 70,000 more than what I'm making now. I
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
So now I'm now choosing to move as if I'm already there.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute. The man who moves as if he's already there
Right.
will start approaching relationships, not just with women, in
Hmm.
general.
Hmm.
Certain places you don't go to no more. Certain people, in order for them to meet you, they got to come here to meet me here.
Hmm.
So now, all if I'm going to put time, energy, and resources into that, it's got to make sense.
Hmm.
Now, things that I would have done at 20 when I'm not doing at 31.
Hmm.
So even if I haven't arrived yet, I'm already mentally there, and I'm starting to respond accordingly. Now, when it comes to what you mentioned about my wife, if she starts to uh I'm not happy. We've been through that. We've
Oh,
been through that.
wow. Talk
Been through
about
that.
it.
Of
Talk
course.
about it.
Well, not to get into the super weeds,
Right, 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 not, right, 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 right,
like
right.
any relationship, you have your ups and downs. You have one moment you're happy, the moment you're not happy. What I've learned is what I'm willing to reward and not reward. So what I'm willing to sometimes I'll sit on something and wait to make sure that when I finally do communicate what it is that I want to communicate, I've thought it through. I've said it once and I've given her time to be able to feel, emote, react how she sees fit,
Hmm.
and not assume that the time that I took to think about it, reflect on it, and put it out there, she now needs to be ready of how she's going to respond and handle it well
Right,
right after I said it. It
right.
took me a week to say something about it. I'm gonna give her a few days or a week to circle back and connect with me about it. And then number two, the same strategy I mentioned at the beginning, if I start taking real world concepts of the standards that she has for me in terms of how I act, how I conduct myself, and the things that I say, and if I start giving that example of, well, when I've done this in the past or I dropped the ball, this typically was your response.
Hmm.
And if I'm choosing not to respond in a way you've responded in the past, which was worse, then would you think that it's fair to acknowledge that maybe this is something that maybe was a blind spot that you need to reevaluate? Now,
Hmm.
again, we're both therapists, so she knows it's not that I'm always right, but she knows that I've thought these things through. She knows I'm
Yes,
not
sir. Right, right, right,
yeah.
right, right, right.
Um, and yeah, and number two, it's like, and this is the last piece. Her happiness is not the most important thing to me.
Yes, I totally agree. Totally
That
agree.
doesn't mean I don't respect her. That doesn't mean I
Right,
don't value her.
right, right.
We both are understanding
Hmm.
that neither her happiness or my own is the most central important thing in this
Hmm.
thing we call a marriage.
Yes, sir.
And
I
she
agree.
knows that as a woman in America, she can leave at any point in time if she chooses to. That is
Yes,
her choice and her right.
I
The,
agree.
the men who grovel, the men who place women on pedestals, they're always fearful that if I don't centralize her happiness, she'll leave.
Hmm.
If you'll leave because I refuse to keep your happiness as the central most important thing, you're not somebody who needs to stay married to me or stay in my life.
I totally agree.
We're both fully aware of that.
Right,
So
right.
if you maintain frame, You establish what the foundation should be up front. As these things pop up, if you stick to what you set the tone to be, shocking that you'll be fine when she's upset. You'll be fine when she's happy. You'll be
Right,
okay.
right, 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 right,
Like a lot
right.
of times, this stuff isn't what it is. Is I think a lot of times we as men, we set the tone and establish building a foundation on something that's already shaky, that's not solid. And then when we're building and adding kids and adding life and adding expenses to this thing, and the foundation wasn't established from the beginning, we now have to deal with the consequences of a shaky, insecure, unsupported foundation. And we're trying to build a whole life and
Hmm.
relationship on something
Hmm.
that we didn't set the tone and establish from the beginning.